Today I would like to talk about drama therapy and how we use it to help our daughter manage her anxiety. Anxiety is a constant issue and challenge for us with our daughter. It manifests itself in many different ways, but one of the ways that has been quite challenging is for her to get a haircut. We've tried everything for our daughter to get a haircut, and for whatever reason, the sensation of getting a haircut or maybe going to the new place just causes her to break down in fear and crying, and it just isn't manageable. She's had 3 haircuts in her life. The first one was when she was a newborn, getting ready to have her gene therapy, so she really didn't have too much choice in the matter. The second was an attempt for us to try to get her to go to the haircut. It failed miserably. The hair needed to be cut, and we kind of restrained her, forced her to get the haircut, and as you can imagine, by the end of it, nobody was happy. The third haircut came recently, and this was after we took a different approach. So we had used drama therapy in many different ways with our daughter, and we decided that we were going to take a step back, breathe, and we were going to approach it a little bit differently. So first thing, our daughter, Rylae-Ann, was born with a rare disease known as AADC deficiency. It's a rare genetic neurotransmitter disorder that affects the production of dopamine and serotonin. This condition leads to her having weak muscles, to having movement difficulties, and obviously the anxiety that we see. Fortunately, she had gene therapy when she was 18 months old, and it was an experimental procedure, but it's been very successful for us. She's made a lot of improvements, and right now it's been approved in the EU and the UK, and we hope to soon see it approved in America and Taiwan. So although she's made incredible progress, we keep pushing her and we want her to continue to succeed. But one area that's kind of been a stopping block for her making progress in other areas is her anxiety. And so she struggles to regulate her emotions. And my wife, Judy, is a special education teacher. So she has experience using drama therapy. And so she decided that, hey, I'm going to take this one on, and me as the dad, I'll step back. This worked for us to get her to go to the hospital before it was nearly impossible for her to go to the hospital because she obviously associated it with the medical tests, the pokes and prods and needles that she saw there. But it worked for the hospital visits. So we decided that we were going to apply this to use for getting a haircut. First up, drama therapy is a technique that uses creative role playing, and it does some acting out, and you may even use puppets or dolls to help solve problems, help children act out a situation that you want them to be successful at. And doing so allows them to gain insight into their feelings, behaviors, and allows them to, in a safe environment, simulate what would happen. So they can practice saying what they need to say or doing what they need to do. So when the time comes, hopefully they feel a little bit more confident. And over time, it reduces anxiety. Now, this is not something that works the first time out. This is something that you have to kind of try out over time, and maybe it's a little bit successful, but then maybe there's a step back. And again, you have to kind of keep on approaching it with determination. So as I said, the first step was for me to step back and Judy kind of take over. And Judy really has this nurturing, caring attitude. And so I gave her that space, but in my mind, I was a little bit apprehensive that, Rylae would not be successful at this, or tears or fighting would happen, because it's just been that much of an issue with getting a haircut. But what Judy did was she began using dolls. They took Rylae-Ann's favorite dolls to the bathroom, and that bathroom kind of became her make-believe hair salon. And they would take turns either giving the haircut to the doll, or the doll giving a haircut to Rylae, Rylae giving a haircut to mom, and it was all through pretend play. And they kept it very positive, very happy, acting out the scenario. They would also use the dolls inside of her playroom, and one of the dolls would become anxious and start crying, acting like what we had seen with Rylae. And then Judy would prompt Rylae to console the doll, so that Rylae was then the person that was helping the doll. And this kind of gave Rylae also some strategies that she would use if she felt that same way that her doll was going to. So we continue these activities for several weeks. Like I said, it's not done overnight. And Rylae-Ann began to have a lot more joy when she talked about a haircut and look forward to it. And so eventually came the day that Rylae was going to get the haircut. And we didn't make a big event out of it, but Judy woke up, we knew that she had this appointment, and said, "Hey Rylae, let's take your dolls to get a haircut." Rylae-Ann was immediately excited. She grabbed her dolls, they headed for the salon to have their hair date, and said goodbye to me and said, "Daddy, I'm going to the hair salon." About 30 minutes later, Judy began sending me pictures of each step of the process. She had spoken to the hairdresser in advance and scheduled a time when no other customers would be there to avoid any unnecessary anxiety and potential public meltdowns. An hour later, I went to this hair salon to meet them, and I showered Rylae with praise. I took her to get her favorite ice cream, and then Judy stayed back to kind of get her own haircut in her well-deserved hour alone for successfully getting Rylae to have her first haircut. During that time, it wasn't perfect. Rylae did begin to have tears in her eyes and she was beginning to become anxious. And what Judy did is she ended it. It didn't have to be the perfect haircut in the beginning. What she did was she saw Rylae was anxious, kind of prompted the hairdresser to go on to the next step. And then ultimately Rylae went through the whole process. And so next time she feels a little bit more confident about getting a haircut. Haircuts are small incremental goals. Though this one was minor in terms of the hair removed, it was a significant improvement and one that we can build on. Our family's journey is a collection of these small moments, and we cherish them greatly.